Welcome everybody, my name is Michael, and today we are discussing yet again about Bitcoin Cash, BCH. Why? Because yesterday's video had, of course, as I suspected, done something controversial. Even though you don't see it in the comments, which I'm rather surprised, there's a few comments which are kind of in the middle, and that's good. That's what I expect. Obviously, I'm biased against Bitcoin Cash, and I must be honest about this. But today, we are going to try and explore Bitcoin Cash from a different perspective. Be open-minded about it. Because, like I said in yesterday's video, I'm not against the actual project itself. I get it, it's cryptocurrency. We are a world which is devoted to freedom, whether that's the freedom of expression or freedom to develop whatever project you want. There's the social aspect to cryptocurrency, and unfortunately, the community behind BCH, not everybody, you know, there's always going to be a few bad apples, since people on the other side may refer to Bitcoin, the original Bitcoin, as Bitcoin Core. We could refer to Bitcoin Cash as Bcash. You know, both sides have their bad apples, so there's definitely some people, if you have a community well over 1 million followers just on the subreddits alone, and obviously they're growing. Pretty soon it's over 2 million on the original Bitcoin, or let me check right now just to be accurate, 2.8 million and growing to 2.9, and on BTC you have 526,000 members. That's still a fair amount of people. A comment referred from yesterday's video that if you tried posting a post about Bitcoin Cash on our Bitcoin, they would ban you, while on our BCH, they would definitely downvote you to oblivion if you're promoting Bitcoin on there, the core Bitcoin as they would call it. And that makes sense. You're going to get downvoted on both sides. Some posts may end up getting banned on our Bitcoin. Now, this is obviously getting a little political at this point, and don't even get me started on the political subreddits, which are complete trash. But this really goes more into Reddit's culture and the subcultures with the moderators and administrators. And yes, there are some pretty terrible mods. And yes, there have been cases of discrimination from both sides, where both people on the BCH community were getting banned from the R Bitcoin side, and people from the R Bitcoin side being discriminated and even banned from the BCH side. This is normal because once you have hundreds of thousands of followers or even millions of investors, then yes, there are going to be these small, rare cases. What I'm not a supporter of is these hostile attacks towards the other project. Yes, I don't support BCH's community, but I'm open to people having both. If you want to have your portfolio diversified, sure, you can have Bitcoin, you can have Ethereum, you can have 20 altcoins, and one of them might be BCH if you want to. In 2020, it wasn't the best investment option. As we've already discussed the numbers, Bitcoin wasn't even the best investment option. The best stable option, we're not talking about pumps and dumps, was Cardano, over 12,000% gain. That's absolutely insane. And XRP, Litecoin, and BCH were way at the bottom. But because of that, this year, XRP, Litecoin as well, and BCH have been doing pretty well. Bitcoin's done fantastic, but it's had a few rough weeks so far in 2021, and now some money is moving into Ethereum and a little bit of money is moving into BCH. Except a little bit of money, when you're talking about, you know, hundreds of billions of dollars, turns into billions of dollars moving into a project, which is enough for it to rise a fair amount. Substantial values, right? Anyways, what am I trying to get at here? Despite our differences, it doesn't matter at the end of the day, because we as a community in cryptocurrency should be united. I've seen so many projects in the past during the ICO days where one community would team up against another community. They would try everything from DDoS attack to spam campaigns, which totally didn't work because it turned people away from your project. Did you look at it bad? Hacks and weird phishing attempt, harassment of other members. Listen, that's not what the cryptocurrency community is about. So at first, when I released a video yesterday, I did lose actually a few subscribers, probably because of yesterday's video. There wasn't anything else that suddenly bam, because every other day I'm gaining subscribers. So I wanted to re-explore this topic, and today we're going to be discussing about BCH, its history, differences between Bitcoin, and like I said, if you want to have both Bitcoin and Bitcoin Cash, go ahead. Just like you can have Ethereum and Ethereum Classic. There's actually hundreds of projects that are very similar to other projects. Welcome to the cryptocurrency world. So let's begin from 2017. You had Bitcoin, you had Ethereum, and everybody was familiar with hard forks, and then 2017 was the year of a lot of hard forks, and most of them were just like the ICOs. Some were okay, and then you had projects like Bitcoin Jesus. Yeah, that's not too popular nowadays, is it? I think there was like Bitcoin Black or whatever, and Bitcoin Gold, and Bitcoin SV, and Bitcoin Cash, and you had a bunch of these hard forks. We can explore a potential list of Bitcoin hard forks. Most of these were jokes. Here, if I find screenshots of a few lists, I'll put them up here. Bitcoin Diamond, Bitcoin Classic, Bitcoin XT. Some of these were the original hard forks because, you know, Bitcoin Cash hard fork happened in 2017. So this was 8 years after Bitcoin was created, quite a long time. And then what's interesting, in 2018, you had a Bitcoin Cash hard fork, which split off into Bitcoin Cash, BCH, and Bitcoin Satoshi's Vision, BSV. So you could get quite confused if you're new to the cryptocurrency space and you see all these hard forks. It's like, what does that mean? It's splitting a project, and whoever the new developers are, they have their vision of what they think the project should be about. And in Bitcoin Cash or Bitcoin Core, the original Bitcoin, the one that's, you know, at the very top of the list today, a lot of disagreement is about what Satoshi's original intentions were. And you've had controversies all over the place with cryptocurrency. How decentralized should it get? Because if you have too much centralization, a company, a group of developers control the project, and for example, they're able to roll back something that shouldn't be able to happen because, oh no, a few $1 million just happened to get lost into the ether space. So apart from that, there were people who disagreed with these forks, and the ones who agreed would be investors in the project going forward, or they'd help out because they would be part of the development team or whatever. So BCH was hard forked off of Bitcoin on August 1st, 2017. And from then onward, you've had a lot of controversies, but one of the most controversial figures associated with the project is Roger Ver, a very powerful and wealthy individual in the cryptocurrency community. So you've got someone who is also named Bitcoin Jesus. So you've got someone who a lot of people look at the head of BCH or as one of the most influential people in both cryptocurrency and Bitcoin. He was a very early investor in the original Bitcoin. He was one of the main guys in control of BCH at the time. His net worth is listed at $500 million, but it could be much lower, could be much higher. Considering the prices of things right now, maybe he's a billionaire, or maybe he's going to be a billionaire in the future, but this is someone who has a lot of influence in this sphere. And his controversies don't even stem fully from cryptocurrency. There's a fair amount of them, but externally even, he had citizenship concerns. For example, he's an American citizen, but he moved to Japan, and then a lot of US citizens, when they renounce citizenship, it gets messy because back then, tax reasons and all this stuff. So he wanted a St. Kitts citizenship, which hands out citizenships. Of course, not for free, you have to pay for it, but for wealthy individuals, that's not a problem. But that wasn't the most controversial bit. Why was he trying to renounce his citizenship? That's because he served prison time, 10 months in prison for selling explosives on eBay. Yeah, the good old days of early 2000s. Yeah, you can't really do that. So he moved out of the country after he got out of prison. And then the controversies with BCH started, and even long before that, there was plenty of disagreements, but he's still not as controversial as Craig Wright, in my opinion, which, ironically, is involved with Bitcoin SV, the hard fork of BCH, and you can see where this is going. It's like the most controversial people. Oh yeah, they've done a lot of forks. There's been a lot of arguments in the community, and most of this probably stems because of the money. I'm sorry, but when you have billions and billions of dollars at stake, that's what's going to happen. You're going to have people disagree with one another, and when it's not as clear because there's very little regulation, and there was like no regulation at the time, it was the Wild West days of cryptocurrency. So Bitcoin Cash is a 1-to-1 split ratio compared to Bitcoin. And what happened a few years ago, if you owned, let's say 100 Bitcoin, which was a lot, and it's especially a lot today, you would receive 100 Bitcoin Cash as well. That's how hard fork works. There was a disagreement between Sedgwick, which was the biggest deal of 2017, and that's probably why we are here today where we are, and Bitcoin's around $60,000, and all these other cryptocurrencies, everything combined is at 2.5 trillion. And that's why we had that huge bull run in 2017. It's because of the Bitcoin halvening. That is right. In 2020 and in 2016 is what made the price shoot up afterwards. So Sedgwick was a big deal and not everybody agreed on it. So there were a set of rules set for cryptocurrency by Satoshi Nakamoto himself. If you just look at the white papers and all of his texts that he wrote on Bitcoin Talk and other emails that he exchanged with the early investors, with the developers, with the cypherpunks of the day, a faction formed, just like in the original Apple HQ, where there was one faction that was producing a Mac that was different compared to the other one. Within the same company, you've had two factions of people fighting against each other. That's the same thing that happened with Bitcoin. You had a group of Bitcoin activists, investors, entrepreneurs, developers, and largely China-based miners. These were huge companies. Why in China? Because the electricity is cheap over there, and if you're rich over there, where there's a lot of new billionaires, especially with cryptocurrency and fintech, it's rather easy to get everything set up. And since you are also manufacturing the hardware, it's a lot faster to set it up over there. Well, they were unhappy with Bitcoin's proposed Sedgwick and its improvement plans. They were meant to increase Bitcoin's capacity. And what did the plan entail exactly? Well, they were trying to push forward alternative plans, which would increase the block size limit to 8 megabytes through a hard fork. Sedgwick controversially would later enable second layer solutions on Bitcoin, such as the Lightning Network, which I think is fantastic, and that reduces fees. But unfortunately, even still to this day, we have a lot of exchanges that are rather delayed with this. And this controversy is essentially what created Bitcoin Cash. You had people on one side who just said, you know what, kind of like the Confederate States of America, they just split off. Supporters of a block size increase were more committed to an on-chain medium exchange function. A key difference of opinion between Bitcoin Cash and Bitcoin was over the running of nodes. Bitcoin supporters wanted to keep blocks small so that nodes could be operated with less resources, while some large block supporters find it acceptable that, due to large block sizes, nodes might only be run by universities, private companies, and nonprofit organizations. So in June of 2017, one of the largest hardware manufacturers and one of the most controversial ones of the time, Bitmain, described the plans for a fork. And oh boy, did that catch the world's attention. It was supposed to be a contingency plan should the Bitcoin community decide to fork implementing Sedgwick. The first implementation of the software was proposed under the name of Bitcoin ABC. In July 2017, mining pool via Bitcoin proposed the name Bitcoin Cash. And in July 2017, Roger Ver and other very important members of the cryptocurrency community stated that they felt that adopting BIP 91, which would later activate Sedgwick, favored people who wanted to treat Bitcoin as a digital investment rather than as a transactional currency. So Bitcoin Cash was created as a fork on the 1st of August in 2017. And essentially what it was an altcoin, an alternative coin, a product of a hard fork, an offshoot, a clone, people would say. A Hong Kong newspaper likened it to Microsoft Word. Bitcoin Cash is like a new version of Microsoft Word, which generates documents that can no longer be opened via the older versions. But what happened is anybody who owned a lot of Bitcoin suddenly had a lot of Bitcoin Cash. So what did most people do? They went to the exchanges and they dumped a lot of it. So originally, on August 1st, Bitcoin Cash was trading at around $240, while Bitcoin was trading at $2,700. And by November, the value of Bitcoin Cash, which had its all-time high peak of up to $900, fell to $300, around $300. Much of that was essentially people who were just dumping because they discovered, hey, I have this. And not only that, but at the time, there was a lot of forks. As you saw those lists, it wasn't just Bitcoin Cash. There's Bitcoin SV, Bitcoin Gold, Bitcoin Diamond. And everybody who owned Bitcoin suddenly had access to these hard forks. Now, a lot of them crashed because when everybody was dumping, no one believed in it. Obviously, it's worth $300 today, $200 tomorrow, and the next day it's absolutely nothing. On the 20th of December, it reached its complete all-time high of $4,355.62. And by August 2018, alongside all the other cryptocurrency projects, because of the crypto winter, the crypto crash, it fell 88% to $519. In 2018, a pretty massive bug was discovered in the Bitcoin ABC software, and it was fixed rather quickly, but it would have allowed an attacker to create a block, causing a chain split. On the 15th of November 2018, a hard fork chain split of Bitcoin Cash occurred, and that was between Bitcoin Cash and Bitcoin SV now. So now there's another rival faction within Bitcoin Cash, and they decided to split off. The first camp was supported by Roger Ver and Jihan Wu, which is the CEO founder of Bitmain, and the second camp was led by Craig Wright, and also a billionaire by the name of Calvin Ayre, an also controversial figure. And Bitcoin SV would increase the size limit to 128 megabytes. Now, some differences between Bitcoin Cash and Bitcoin itself. So even though, if you look at it from a technical perspective, Bitcoin Cash is newer. It's supposed to be better. Just like Ethereum compared to Bitcoin, there's been so many debates over the years. Yes, it's faster. Yes, lower fees. Oh my God, it's got these updates and that. Bitcoin isn't like Dogecoin where no one's working on it. The core Bitcoin, as the Bcash community would say, has a lot of developers. I mean, it's the most popular cryptocurrency out there. But when you compare it to Bitcoin Cash, there technically is better security, I guess, if you look at it from that perspective. With Bitcoin Cash, there is a RBF vulnerability, and that could increase the chances of double spending happen. If you don't know what that is, that means that you send Bitcoin to one address, it looks like it was sent, and then you're able to send that same amount of Bitcoin to another address, and the first one cancels out. And if you were purchasing a product and someone was sending that product, they wouldn't have that Bitcoin, and the social engineer would send his Bitcoin to another address of his, and he would get free stuff. And he would be able to scam people through double spending. There's also improved scalability with Bitcoin Cash compared to Bitcoin. There's supply scarcity, there's improved confirmation times, there's a fair amount of merchants that actually really prefer Bitcoin Cash because it's faster, it's lower fees. If you're trying to purchase a coffee, they don't really want to wait around up to half an hour, maybe even an hour if there's a lot of congestion. But you're having the same problems with Ethereum nowadays, and a rather large portion of the top 20 cryptocurrencies, they're having some issues as they're growing larger with fees and congestion and how long it takes for it to confirm. But Ethereum's working on that with Ethereum 2.0 sharding, switching from proof of work to proof of stake. A lot of people from the Bitcoin Cash community would say, well, yeah, Lightning is a solution to some of Bitcoin's problems, but there are some vulnerabilities, and there's a small chance that you could lose your funds. So to wrap things up, I just want to say this. Long story short, it all used to be Bitcoin. Without Bitcoin itself, Bitcoin Core, there would be no Bcash, there would be no Ethereum, there would be no cryptocurrency industry. So Reddit, Twitter, websites, Bitcoin Talk, everything was literally the original Bitcoin. And since it's the original Bitcoin, that's why it's still number one. It's lasted so many years. It's the oldest cryptocurrency that's still survived the most popular Satoshi's actual baby. And what happened is this great divide between people who were very rich and powerful, and they just took their own sides and they're trying to fight against each other. But it doesn't make any sense. We should be working together. Whichever side of the argument the owners of Bitcoin or BTC fell upon, that's where those subreddits, that's where those properties went. So Bitcoin is BTC. BTC has R Bitcoin. BCH has BTC. Bitcoin.com is BCH Bitcoin Cash, and Bitcoin.org is the original Bitcoin. BCH is owned by a Bitcoin supporter that absolutely hates BCH, so they turned it into a troll sub. And as you can see, they're constantly fighting on each side to try and either troll people. There's zealots, astroturfers, people who are just having fun. There's subreddits like Buttcoin. The problem isn't who owns what subreddit forum community. The problem is that some people actually believe that BCH deserves BTC, that it is the real Bitcoin, and there is nothing else to Bitcoin itself. It has been always the real Bitcoin, but that doesn't mean that it's always going to be at the top. We're just going to have to wait and see what's going to happen. So there's room for both, I guess. It's not the actual coin that I hate. It's more so the community, and both sides have. So that was today's video. I got to share something with you. Look at this. I found nerds in Poland, in Europe, and surprisingly, this wasn't an international store. It was at a random gas station, a Shell gas station. They were selling this in Pop-Tarts, which I love Pop-Tarts. Not so much a fan of this, but it was a little thing that reminded me of my childhood. I was super excited. I haven't seen this like anywhere for the past few years, so to suddenly see it at a random gas station, I was like, oh man, I gotta buy it. And it wasn't super expensive as you would have it in the international stores. And even for a gas station, where most things are overpriced, like even water and Coca-Cola and all this stuff, this wasn't bad. So, alrighty. I'm moving back to America pretty soon. In like 3-4 weeks, we're selling our car, selling everything, and heading back to the home country. So, see you guys. Thanks for staying tuned to this channel. Let's put all of our disagreements aside and unite as one cryptocurrency enthusiast. All right, if you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button. Trying to get to 1,000 before I leave for America. That would be absolutely fantastic, just in case if my plane was falling down, I could at least know in my brain, all right, we're at 1,000, everything's okay. We're famous. No, but it would make me feel 0.0001% better. And if you absolutely hated this video, that's okay. I understand. Even if you're from the other side, just try to understand my point of view. But ultimately, if you hate it, leave a dislike. That helps engagement. And write down in the comment section below why you hated it. But if you liked it, that also helps. Engagement is good, but for those out there who are trying to help out the channel with engagement, don't spam, don't copy paste the same stuff, because that's not helping me either. If you don't want to comment, you don't need to. The channel's growing, and so far the past few videos, the views have been, thank you. I want you guys to know that, and I'm gonna have to go through a lot of comments and start responding them, because we're still a small channel. So I'm gonna try something that I used to do with my other channels when they were small and growing. Respond to every single comment. That's as long as it's not in the published for review section, which is where the new spam goes in, because there is no spam section anymore. As long as it's not in the spam folders, I will try and respond to your comments. Have a great rest of your day, enjoy, and see you guys for tomorrow's video. Have a great one, bye. There's one thing I don't understand, and that's BCH ATMs. If you want to have a Bitcoin ATM and you want to support BCH, that's fine as an alternative altcoin, because I've seen ATMs that are two-way Bitcoin ATMs with altcoin features. You have Ethereum, you can put in BCH, you can put in whatever else you want. Dash, Monero, Dogecoin, I don't care. That would be interesting to see a Dogecoin, a fully Dogecoin ATM. But to have fully BCH ATMs, that just limits the amount of people that will use your stuff. Although, if you're leaning politically and you want to get more people involved in your project, that's a great way to do it, but you're kind of losing money at the same time. So that's just one thing I never really understood. Just wanted to throw that in there. All right, bye. And we're going to be making a video pretty soon about 20,000 total Bitcoin ATMs. So that was a nice Mustang. Have a great one, bye.